Someone needs to yeet Tyler Hayward into the sun. If I had powers, it would be me. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another WandaVision review. This was good. So the immediate flashback about this episode gives us some info about Agatha Harkness. Agatha is being led to a pyre to be tied up in the middle of the night by a group of women. Now, we would think that this is a Salem witch being executed for witchcraft, because canonically, Agatha Harkness was a survivor of the Salem witch trials. However, things are a little off. It's all women. They're all in hoods, and it's happening in the middle of the night. We learned then that Agatha is actually being executed for dabbling in dark and forbidden magics that she was not allowed to access. And when Agatha is accused of her crimes, it leads to this awesome line about how she didn't break the rules, they bent to her power. The witches use a spell to try to kill Agatha, but she uses her power to turn their spell against them, draining them of their magic and killing them all, even her mother. So some interesting things happen during this scene. Firstly, I just want to point out that this is yet another example in media of people with powers doing things the hard way with their powers and getting screwed over because of it. If they had wanted to make sure that Agatha could not escape and wouldn't fight back, they could have just restrained her and used a knife. I'm not saying it would have been pretty, but it would have been definite. They were arrogant enough to think that somebody who had successfully messed around in forbidden magics would not be powerful enough for them to not be able to defeat. Essentially, they fucked around and then they found out. Also, I found it important to note that Agatha asked twice for forgiveness. Once when she had the underhand, which is when it's expected for the bad guy to ask for forgiveness, but then even when she had taken control of that spell and had the upper hand, she was still asking for forgiveness. She was pleading with her mother. And only when her mother said no did she finally kill her mother. It could have just been an attempt at manipulation, but it's totally possible that if her mother had just said yes, there would not have been an Agatha Harkness in Westview, because she would have died in the 1700s. Anyways, flashing back to the present, Agatha questions Wanda as to how she got her powers and how she was able to create Westview. After torturing her doesn't work, Agatha puts Wanda through her most formative and traumatic memories to determine the source of her powers, and God, her life has been a horror show. In the first memory, we get to see Wanda, Pietro, and their parents in Sokovia. They're doing a English TV night, and they're watching the Dick Van Dyke Show because it's Wanda's pick, and Wanda likes sitcoms because in the end, everything was all a dream or everything gets better. Her saying this is juxtaposed with gunfire and rubble and shouting outside of their house because there is a civil war going on outside. As they're watching the show, their apartment gets blown in and Wanda and Pietro see their parents die. As we already know, the two get stuck under a bed when a Stark Industries bomb is shot into their home and it doesn't go off. However, what we did not know is that during this time, Wanda held her hand out and tried to convince herself that everything was going to go back to normal. Wanda tells Agatha that they were stuck under the bed for 2 days waiting for the bomb to go off, and Agatha jumps in and says that Wanda likely used a probability hex to make the Stark Industries bomb not go off. If this is true, then that would mean that she had powers prior to the experimentation with the Infinity Stone, i.e., she is a witch like Agatha, or she is a mutant. From there, Agatha leads Wanda to her experimentation with the Mind Stone. We find out that none of the prior test subjects to Wanda had survived experimentation with the Mind Stone, which indicate that it's a genetic thing, as both she and Pietro survived. One more time for the mutants. And that Wanda actually suppressed the memory of what happened when she touched the Mind Stone. As she approached the scepter, the Mind Stone actually removed itself from the scepter and came towards Wanda, reaching out to her. In the yellow light, Wanda saw what appeared to be the Scarlet Witch. Now, this could have been the previous Scarlet Witch if it was a moniker that is passed on, a Scarlet Witch from an alternate universe, or, and my personal theory, a future Scarlet Witch coming back in time to sort of turn the powers on. We also see that the camera feed for the Hydra scientists cut out, so nobody else saw what happened. The next scene shows Wanda and Vision bonding in the Avengers compound as Vision helps her through her grief over losing Pietro. only for him to die in Infinity War. After Wanda gets snapped back to life, she goes to S.W.O.R.D. to get Vision's body to bury him, as she should be able to do as his next of kin. Instead, Hayward, the absolute asshole that he is, decides to show her the S.W.O.R.D. agents dissecting Vision's body, clearly trying to provoke Wanda into starting something, and also calling Vision a piece of vibranium instead of a person. When Wanda takes the obvious bait and goes to Vision's body, she understands that he is dead, and unlike what Hayward is clearly trying to get her to do, she doesn't try to bring him back to life, and she seems shocked and almost horrified that he would even try to ask her to do that. She leaves S.W.O.R.D. without Vision's body, and she drives to Westview, which is a sad town with people who don't seem to be very happy, possibly as a result of the snap. It is in Westview where Wanda finds the plot of land that would have housed the home that she and Vision were going to build together. On the deed, there is a sweet and very sad note, "To grow old in, V." And I think that the little heart on the calendar comes from that. It is in Westview that Wanda finally breaks. In her grief, she uses her magic to build her home, put all of Westview into a better sitcom world than the real world, and create Vision out of nothing. And that is where the episode ends. In the mid-credits scene, we see a blue and white Vision opening his eyes and coming to life, as Hayward says that he used Wanda's magic to bring him to life. Shit. Holy shit. This episode was a lot to swallow. I have some thoughts and I have some theories. Firstly, I nominate Monica Rambeau and Wanda Maximoff to beat Tyler Hayward's ass. I want to see it. I think at this point, amongst WandaVision viewers, he is about as hated as Dolores Umbridge. I want him gone. Listen, I knew that the man was shady, but still, what are you doing, man? Also, I was right. I called S.W.O.R.D. experimenting on Vision's body, and I called the current Vision not actually being in Vision's original body. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get Vision flying in to land next to Wanda when Agatha was holding their kids in leashes. I feel like that would have been the appropriate time for him to land and Monica Rambeau to come out so that they could set up the boss battle that is obviously going to be happening in the next episode. Also, where are literally any of the Avengers? Iron Man and Black Widow are dead. And Captain America, the original, is an old man because he decided to go back in time and potentially destabilize the universe so that he could get with his ex. But where are the rest of them? They couldn't have checked up on Wanda even once? Not one time? And why was Vision's body with S.W.O.R.D.? I will ask it again. Again, I say that if Vision's body was considered property by anyone, it should have been considered Stark Industries property, not government property. Hayward had no right to it. Also, what was the point of Agatha using magic on Wanda at the end of episode 7 if not to mind control her? She literally had purple floating into her eyes. Why didn't she mind control her? We know that she can possess people. She did it to the fake Pietro. Why didn't she just use whatever version of the Imperious she has to Imperious Wanda to make her do her bidding and get whatever she wants out of it? It would have been a lot easier than creating an action scene outside where Wanda can also use magic instead of inside where she has already said that only Agatha can use magic. It doesn't make any sense. What possible reason does she have to even the playing field? Is she waiting for something else to happen? By all rights, she should be draining Wanda's power in a location where Wanda can't fight back. Also, I just find it really sad but also very thoughtful that Wanda's Westview was just better for all of the people. Everybody in Westview is sad and depressed. Businesses and places are boarded up. Wanda either did it subconsciously or she just noticed everything. Mrs. Hart was sitting outside of a coffee shop looking lonely. So in Wanda's new reality, she was happily married. Everyone's lives were better than they were outside the Hex. It's still not justifiable, but she was just trying to make everything better. Oh, I also have another theory that my brother actually thought of, which makes sense. So his theory. So the Infinity Stones of this universe were destroyed by Thanos. The Infinity Stones from the other timeline universe were put back, which means that this universe no longer has any Infinity Stones. So it is possible that Wanda, being one of the people who was experimented on with the Infinity Stone, is now taking on the aspects of one or more, possibly all of the Infinity Stones. Hence the reason why she is able to use the powers of multiple Infinity Stones and bend reality. Maybe. It'd be cool. Okay, so how I think the next episode is gonna go. Vision is going to land next to Wanda, Monica Rambeau is going to show up, there's gonna be a mini boss fight. At some point, it is going to become clear that either Billy, Tommy, Wanda, or Monica are being possessed and or controlled by Agatha. Vision is going to have to break them out of their control. It is possibly going to lead to semi-serious, serious injury for one or more of them. At this point, Hayward's Wacko Vision will use Wanda's chaos magic to lead all of Sword into the Hex. However, he's not going to help Sword or Hayward because, surprise, Wacko Vision is actually Ultron. Why do I think this? Because Jarvis was the only thing that made the Ultron body Ultron. Jarvis is not there. The scepter alone created Ultron. Wanda's magic comes from the Mind Stone in the scepter. Ergo ipso, it's going to be Ultron. And then after that, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I hope that they're going to set up one of the upcoming Avengers shows, either Captain America and the Winter Soldier or Loki. Theoretically, they could do any of them for different reasons. And I have absolutely no idea how this is going to end. I don't know if they're going to be completing it with this episode or if they're planning on doing like a season 2 and they're going to be leaving it, and as a result, they're going to be leaving it at some sort of cliffhanger. I have no idea. Basically, what I'm saying is I am excited for the next episode, as always. Alrighty, that is the end of this video. If you like this video, please make sure to like somewhere down here and subscribe if you want to see similar content. Also down here. I also have a second channel where I post lifestyle content, vlogs, plan with me videos, bullet journaling stuff. Check it out. I'll put the link down below. Okay, bye!